Moikka moi! It's Riikka Kovasin here with another video. This time I'm making some cards. I'm calling these Duck Party. I'm using 4 different paper artsy stamps to create these. The duck is going to be the focal point, then there's a little party hat from a set, and then 2 other these mini stamps. One for the background and one for the ground, the duck to stand on. I'm first stamping the little duckies using black ink, and then I'm stamping the party hats using watermark ink. I'm doing 3 cards and following that 3 cards kind of color scheme throughout. So I'm then embossing these little party hats with 3 different colors. There's this kind of a peachy tone that I'm doing, then a mulberry kind of purple tone, and then this aqua green or minty green color. I'm embossing each hat with a different color and then turn my attention to the backgrounds. You can see all the used colors in the materials list in the description box. When I then have the little elements done, I'm doing the backgrounds. I'm using paper artsy paints to create a colorful cardstock and a palette knife. I'm using just 1 color per background, but because I'm using the palette knife, it kind of creates this varying a little like not solid color block, but there's some variation in the color, even though I'm just using 1 color. And like I said earlier, I'm using the 3 different colors. I actually chose these paint colors first and then chose the embossing powders from my stash to match these. The purple one is not that good of a match because this one is rather more red than the embossing powder, but especially the peach tone is quite on spot. I'm then using the background stamps 2 ways. First, I'm adding this white pattern to each background using this number background kind of pattern. And then I'm repeating the same pattern to white cardstock with the colored embossing ink. So then there's going to be these layering elements. I die cut the embossed pieces to circles, so they are going to be kind of highlighting the focal point. And then I'm coloring the little duckies using brush tip markers. I'm also adding a little bit Posca doodle to the birds, again following the same color scheme. So there's this purple, peachy, and kind of aqua color I'm adding to each duck 1 color. I'm also adding some Posca doodles to the backgrounds. And the backgrounds I earlier trimmed a little bit smaller, so when I mount them on top of white cardstock, there's going to be this little white frame showing. You can see me color one of the duckies here, and then I'm repeating it to the other 2. I'm mixing the colors a little bit, so there's some colors repeating in the duckies, but there's also some variation, kind of trying to match the duck to the background. I'm also coloring the little party hats and then cutting these elements loose so I'm able to layer them to the card bases. Here are the backgrounds already doodled and done, and I'm adding some white splashes, kind of making the transition between the stamped area and the not stamped area a little bit smoother that way. Here I'm using one of the stamps to make a little grounding element to the duckies. It's this linear design that I'm cutting into smaller bits, but this makes a lovely kind of shadow or grounding element so the ducks won't float in the card. I'm also making some sentiment patches using white embossing powder and another stamp set. I'm doing this on top of black cardstock to get a little bit contrast to the cards. Then it's construction time. I'm using double-sided tape and craft glue alternately gently and layering the elements to the cards. I'm using double-sided tape to mount the background, then craft glue to mount the circle, and then foam tape for the duck to get a little bit dimension to the card. And craft glue again for the grounding element. I'm repeating the same steps to all 3 cards. Here the cards are now almost done. I'm just adding the sentiment pieces in place with foam tape and then add some star-shaped sequins to finish each one. I'm adding 3 to each card at this stage, but I did add a couple of more when I'm done filming. There's these bigger ones and smaller ones, and I'm kind of scattering them to the cards in this triangle kind of shape. After that, the cards are done. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you like this little video. It's a little bit longer card video, but hey, there's 3 cards done, so I'm hoping that's okay. And I'll be seeing you again next week with another kind of project. If you like this one, please consider subscribing to the channel and hit that bell sign to be notified when a new video comes live. Thanks again. Bye!